live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 6 starts now.
A woman recovers after becoming the latest victim of a drive-by shooting. The vehicle police are looking for tonight.
An animal hospital that serves a local shelter is closing its doors. Pet owners worry about how they're going to afford to get treatment for their furry family members.
And children who've experienced loss connect with other kids who understand what they're going through. Crafts and other activities help campgoers honor loved ones. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson.
A woman is recovering after getting shot late Tuesday night.
Police say she was hurt in a drive-by. Officers were called for a shooting victim near North Independence Avenue, just south of Auburn Street around 11. They found the 30-year-old woman hit. She's expected to be okay. Police say several people were sitting on a porch when a light-colored car drove past and shot at the group. That's when the victim was hit. Police haven't announced any arrests. If you know anything about the shooting, call Rockford Police or Crime Stoppers.
2 men are arrested accused of multiple gun and drug charges. Rockford Police conducted a traffic stop in the area of State Street and Henrietta Avenue around 7:30 Tuesday night. During the stop, officers found 3 handguns, a loaded magazine, and drugs. Police charged 20-year-old Stefan Stevens with aggravated unlawful use of a weapon and possession of cannabis. 21-year-old Sir Love is charged with unlawful use of a weapon by a felon and possession of ecstasy.
A missing kayaker's body turns up in the Rock River. Dixon police were called to help find the man around 8 last night. According to officers, the kayaker was last spotted near the Custer Avenue boat ramp. His car was nearby. Early this morning, a body was recovered from the water near Rock River Estates in Lee County. Investigators haven't released his name. They also haven't announced a cause of death.
An update to the I-90 crash in McHenry County that killed 7 people over the weekend. An 8th person has now died. 32-year-old Thomas DeBoche sustained serious injuries and was airlifted to the hospital, where today he passed away. His wife, 4 kids, a friend of one of the kids, and the other driver all died at the scene. State police say a woman in another car was going the wrong way on the highway leading to the fiery crash. The family was involved in the Oriole Park Falcons football and cheerleading community in the Chicago suburbs. Multiple GoFundMes have been created to help support the family.
The man charged in the July 4th parade shooting in Highland Park appears in court. He pled not guilty to the 117 counts against him. 21 of those are for first-degree murder. That's 3 for each of the alleged victims. The 21-year-old wore a mask and a black jail jumpsuit during the 10-minute hearing. He reportedly told the judge he understood the charges and potential penalties he faces. Those include natural life in prison. Some Highland Park community members say they needed to be at the hearing.
I'm here today because people from my community cannot be here. They're not ready. They are broken, living in fear, and I wanted to be here to be a presence for them, to be able to sit in the courtroom and know that my town, the people from my town matter, and what happened to them matters, and that we are here to make sure that justice is carried out.
In hindsight, they deeply regret they deeply regret the actions that their son had taken. Obviously, they're still devastated. They're part of the community. They're part of the Highland Park community. They're also heartbroken by all those that have been affected by this tragic event.
That was the lawyer representing the defendant's parents. Prosecutors say the accused gunman admitted to the shooting once police arrested him. He's due back in court in November.
Indiana Congresswoman Jackie Walorski was killed in a car crash this afternoon, along with 2 of her staffers. She represented North Central Indiana from South Bend to just north of Kokomo. The Elkhart County Sheriff says the SUV Walorski was traveling in was hit head-on by another car. The Republicans' communications director, Emma Thompson, and District Director Zachary Potts died in the crash. The driver of the wrong-way car also died. Congressman Adam Kinzinger tweeted out condolences, saying his heart is heavy and that Walorski was a good and honorable servant.
This week, Rockford's Noah's Ark Animal Hospital stopped serving patients. Now many people wonder where they can take their pets for medical care.
Nikel Delgado was able to talk to the animal sanctuary. Nikel, what'd they say?
Eric, Mimi, that's right. They are worried about the animals that are currently in the care of their hospital and the animals who are on critical medication.
They called me yesterday and told me that they were not going to be able to do it because they had lost their veterinarian.
Steve Kennedy has 2 dogs and 3 cats. He had an appointment on Friday at Noah's Ark to get one of his dogs spaded when he got an unexpected call.
Kind of took my breath away. I thought, man, now I got to go find somebody else. And I knew that the prices were going to be higher, and I knew it was going to stretch my budget.
Executive Director Stephanie Lauer says they decided to make some changes, but not all of the staff were happy with those changes.
Noah's Ark Animal Sanctuary decided to transition our hospital into something that's more aligned with our mission, which is obviously population control, taking care of underprivileged animals, and this was a reorganization of our hospital, and there were people that didn't agree with it. And so they handed in their resignation.
Despite this, Stephanie believes their new plan will work.
So now we will transition into more of a shelter and rescue type of veterinarian with no client base.
But that leaves Steve and other clients hunting to find a new veterinarian.
I'd like to see them get back in business because, like I said, they're reasonable and they take care of things pretty well. They took real good care of our kittens.
A site in Rock Falls offered to care for the animals that are currently at Noah's Ark. An emergency animal hospital in Beloit will help with any emergency or medication refills. It's not known yet when Noah's Ark will reopen. Mimi?
All right, thanks, Nicole. A State Line camp brings together kids who've experienced loss. The Children's Grief Camp was hosted by Serenity Hospice and Home in Rochelle. Over a dozen kids between the ages of 5 and 13 attended. The kids spent time doing various activities like swimming and playing sports. They also got the chance to work on meaningful crafts that memorialize their loved ones, and they got a chance to talk about their memories.
The biggest things is it's bringing them together with other kids who have experienced a similar loss. Many of them go to school with or have neighbors or friends, whatever, that have never lost anybody, haven't attended a funeral. They don't know. But when they come in here, they've all got something in common.
Today's camp concluded with a butterfly release to honor the children's loved ones.
A Tyson Foods plant in southern Illinois will undergo a large expansion and add hundreds of jobs.
This groundbreaking is another great example of Illinois' successful efforts to attract, incentivize, and support major job creators. Even with all the global economic turmoil, Illinois' manufacturing and prepared foods industries are succeeding.
The facility in Caseyville, just east of St. Louis, will grow by 170,000 square feet. The expansion includes 7 new production lines and boosts production of grab-and-go snacking and breakfast items. It will create more than 250 jobs at the plant and more than 200 construction jobs. Total investment in the project is about $180 million. It's expected to be completed next summer. Illinois helps people learn about Route 66.
Governor Pritzker signed a grant funding the fairgrounds exhibit on the famous road, $500,000 last week. And today, construction crews put up a 40-foot neon sign of Route 66. A Springfield tourism leader said the exhibit will bring people to Springfield year-round.
The experience at Gate 2 is going to be a year-round self-guided experience. So throughout the year, you're going to be able to stop by and learn about Route 66, look at the neons, and have that experience.
The giant slide at the fairgrounds is also getting a paint job so fair goers can slide down the route symbol. Dahl says the newly themed slide will be open next summer outside of the fair.
U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wrapped up her trip to Taiwan this morning, pledging American support for the island democracy.
During her 24-hour visit, Pelosi met with Taiwanese lawmakers and Taiwan's president. The trip angered China, which considers Taiwan part of its territory and opposes any engagement by Taiwanese officials with foreign governments. As a show of force, China launched live-fire military drills only 10 miles off Taiwan's coast.
America's determination to preserve democracy here in Taiwan and around the world remains ironclad. And we're grateful to the partnership of the people of Taiwan in this mission.
Pelosi's trip may have set off renewed tensions between China and the U.S. over power and influence in Asia. The House Speaker will travel to Japan and South Korea before returning to Washington. Ahead of November's midterms, elections took center stage on Capitol Hill today. Officials urged lawmakers to defend poll workers against growing threats.
Senators try to advance a bill that protects election results as well. Washington correspondent Jesse Tsanur shows us where it stands.
It was unnerving, as you can tell.
Election officials held back tears as they explained how lies about the 2020 presidential election, even from some of the senators before them, put their lives in danger.
My son, standing in our driveway, picked up a stick, turned to me and said, "Don't worry, Mom. If the bad guys come again, I'll get them with this." He's 6 years old.
These officials told the Senate Judiciary Committee that poll workers from both parties have also been harassed, intimidated, and threatened, making it harder to recruit new volunteers ahead of November's midterm elections.
We are on the verge of not having that process anymore because we are not going to have enough committed citizen individuals.
In the past year, a Department of Justice task force dedicated to these threats has received about 1,000 reports. But Assistant Attorney General Kenneth Polite Jr. said only one has resulted in a conviction.
Majority of cases, they will not satisfy the legal standard.
A new bipartisan bill would change that by increasing the penalties for election-related crimes, while another would respond to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol.
That happened. That was for real. It was not a visit by friends from back home.
Senators Joe Manchin and Susan Collins' legislation clarifies the vice president does not have the power to overturn election results and makes it harder for lawmakers to object to them.
Enact these sensible and much-needed reforms before the end of this Congress.
In Washington, I'm Jesse Tsanur.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
It was a busy start to the day here across the state line with plenty of showers and thunderstorms that were moving through earlier on here today and into the early part of the afternoon as well. Since then, we've had a lot of those moving out of the area, and we're actually getting some clearer skies behind that. That's the bulk of these showers that were finally moving out over the last couple hours. Some clearing behind that. We are seeing some patches of sun now finally working their way in. There is still a chance that we could see some of this isolated stuff that's developing behind the initial line move through over the next couple of hours. But again, that would be very isolated in nature and nothing nearly as widespread as what we had earlier on here today. But however, that isolated chance of showers, or the scattered showers we had earlier on today, have brought those temperatures down quite a bit. Springfield's at 77 degrees. Compare that to Indianapolis is at 87 degrees. So that big temperature difference where we had a lot of those rain showers and those thunderstorms moving through, that can be seen and evident here across the state line as well, with some areas that made it up into the upper 80s and other areas that only made it into the low 80s here just recently. As I mentioned before, the SkyTrack camera showing a little bit of clearing showing up now on the SkyTrack camera out there in Freeport. Still getting some of that blue skies working in, but still holding on to quite a bit of cloud cover there earlier on here into the evening as well. The air is very sticky out there. Plenty of moisture and humidity values are a little bit higher. Dew points right now are in the 70s and 60s across the area. 76 degrees in Freeport for the dew point currently, 71 in Rockford. That's where we're holding on to those upper 60s, low 70s. Plenty of moisture in the air, along with all those rain showers we had earlier on today. Luckily, though, a little bit more comfortable weather will be expected over the next couple of days. As I mentioned before, temperatures have remained in the 80s, and we're finally getting some of that clearing behind. Sun now showing up at Freeport and Monroe and Galena, with temperatures finally working their way back up just a couple of degrees. But we're going to continue to see those gradually decline later on this evening as the sun will begin to set here soon. Those scattered showers eventually work their way through the area. We get plenty of clearing behind that and into the day tomorrow. Some of those showers might stay a little bit further to the south. That's where those boundary layers are going to set up. That's going to keep a little bit more of that weather further south of the state line here for tomorrow. So plenty of sunshine can be expected for us here locally as temperatures make it into the mid-80s. Plenty of clearing there over the next couple of days continues to remain the story, as well as lowering dew points. We're in the 70s here today. We're in the 60s. Even a couple of spots might make it down into the 50s over the next couple of days. So definitely more comfortable air will be in store over the next couple of days. We're also going to see a little bit more of a warm up over the next couple of days into the weekend as well, as we're going to see a little bit more of a shift in what we call warm air advection, where we get warm air that moves moves closer and closer to the state line over the next couple of days. That's what we're going to see here this weekend as we're up into the 90s for at least Saturday and Sunday. So recapping all this here really quickly, we're going to continue to stay a little bit warmer beyond this week, but tonight we're down to 68 degrees with those scattered showers early on. Tomorrow we're back up into the mid-80s, and then we hold on to those temperatures over the next couple of days as our 7-day forecast remains a little bit more comfortable, but we're back up into the 90s. Not for long though, because look, next week we're back down into the low 80s.
Now sports with sports director Scott Lever.
Well, the White Sox had a heck of a time getting above the 500 mark and then staying there. They got above it again last night, so today against the Royals and try to avoid sliding back to that mark. In the bottom of the first inning, Yoan Moncada at the plate hits it on the nose. It drops into center for a hit. Andrew Vaughn was hustling around the bases. He was safe at home, and the Sox led 1-0. They then had a rain delay, and when play resumed, the red-hot Jose Abreu came through again. He homered last night. He did it again in this game. It came with 2 men on. Abreu's 14th of the season. The White Sox defeated the Royals 4-1, so they are now 2 games over 500. Cubs are playing St. Louis again this evening, and everybody's still stunned that Wilson Contreras and Ian Happ didn't get dealt before the trade deadline yesterday. Jed Hoyer would have pulled the trigger if the right offers came along, but they never did.
We were willing to listen if someone gave us a piece that could really help our future. We never crossed that threshold, and Wilson is a really valuable player. He's been a great Cub for 6 years now, and we never got to that place where we felt comfortable making a deal.
Well, the Packers were getting after it again in Green Bay today. There's a lot of optimism about the defense with some of the additions the team made in the draft and through free agency. Dean Lowry, the Boylan grad, says he's noticed this defense plays at a faster gear.
Our speed really stands out across the ball in defense, whether it's your D-line, linebackers, your secondary. Right now, our pursuit to the football has been really top-notch, and that's been something that Joe B's stressing every single day is get to the football because we have the ability to get there and make some plays and create havoc.
The PGA Tour and LIV Golf are deeper now than ever. Now 11 LIV golfers are suing the PGA Tour over their suspensions from the tour. Those 11 golfers include Phil Mickelson and Bryson DeChambeau. A Guilford High School senior, Kayla Seiland, finished up strong today at the Illinois State Junior Girls Golf Championship. She shot a 71 to finish tied for second place, 1 stroke behind the winner. Boylan senior Ella Greenberg finished in 13th place. Boylan junior Eva Greenberg finished tied for 17th. Several local men finished up playing the Illinois Open at Stonebridge Country Club in Aurora. Jeff Kellen of Rockford was the top local finisher. He tied for 33rd place. Kevin Flack and Chris French tied for 41st. Mitchell Holm of Dixon tied for 51st. And Greater Rockford Men's Classic champion TJ Baker just missed the cut yesterday.
We're going to continue to see clearing skies here on the First Warn Interactive Radar from Rockford Auto Glass and more. Those clearing skies after the rain showers we had earlier on today, but we do hold on to a very scattered or isolated chance for some showers overnight into the early part of tonight. After that all works out, we're much more comfortable with plenty of sunshine over the next couple of days. Our next chance for rain comes this weekend as temperatures are back into the 90s, but we're back down into the 80s all next week.
Thanks, Jordan.
And thanks for joining us. Have a good evening.
Stay safe.